It's all your fault, Downey! Avengers Age of Ultron stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner. There's a lot of people to go yet still. James Spader, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Samuel L. Jackson, Paul Bettany, Andy Serkis. There's a lot of freaking people in this movie. That's a big list. And it's directed by Joss Whedon, and this is the most anticipated Marvel movie yet, probably. The first was the Avengers. It's like, can they get all these heroes together? And if you want my quick thoughts on the Avengers, because I never actually ended up reviewing that, actually. But it had such a big cast. They had all these heroes in there. They all pretty much had a chance to shine and be interesting and awesome in the movie. And it just had to be a big, epic film with all these heroes in it, like, basically beating up a bunch of aliens. But yeah, and the Avengers pretty much pulled it off. There's a few issues with the movie, a few. Just sort of like the Chitauri pretty much suck. Loki, though, was a good enough villain that the Chitauri, it's okay that they suck. And one or two of the action things weren't like that great, but overall the movie was just like epic proportions and it really delivered on what it had to do. And that's pretty much everyone's favorite Marvel thing. It was mine, but then I really like Captain America 2 and I really like Guardians of the Galaxy and I love Daredevil. That's my favorite Marvel. And going into this, it's like this movie was so hyped up. This was like, this has gotta be something because the hype around this is just ridiculous. Did it live up to it? Let's talk about it. So in this movie, Bruce Banner and Tony Stark end up accidentally creating Ultron. He's supposed to be this, basically, the replacement for the Avengers, an artificial intelligence type robot thing that can basically do the Avengers job for them, keep the peace and all that. But things go bad. He very quickly decides, you know what, I'll just kill everyone. That's how you save everyone, kill them all. So he gets a whole bunch of robots on his side, they're all gonna destroy the Earth and that, and the Avengers have to stop them. Pretty much like the first one, except replace Chitauri with robots, and Loki wanting to rule the world with Ultron wanting to destroy it completely. So yeah, similar in a way. So this movie does a lot more interesting things with the characters. In the first one, it's like, we've had the setup movies, we know what they're like, let's just see them interact and stuff. In this one, it's like, let's have all that, but let's try, like, deepen their characters and make them even more interesting. Hawkeye, for instance, is so much better here than he ever was before. They actually did a lot of stuff with his character, and I really appreciate it, because Hawkeye never had a lot to do. He's finally a cool, interesting character. And very funny. A lot of these characters just, they really amp up the humor. It's pretty much as funny, maybe not quite as funny as the first one. And since there's just a few things wrong with it, so I'll talk about them first, like Ultron. Damn trailer. It's an Iron Man 3 all over again. They have a great epic trailer. It looks like it's going to be really dark and intense and epic. And the villain just seems so threatening. And then the movie, he doesn't live up to it. And really, it's just another one in the list of Marvel, like, yeah, this villain could be really awesome. And then they just don't do them justice. They're so great with their heroes. The villains is where they're really falling short so many times. I can count on one hand how many great villains we've got. Loki, Winter Soldier, and Wilson Fisk on the Daredevil Netflix show. Ultron could essentially somewhat be put on the list, at least a little bit. Because the thing with Ultron, his motivations just pretty much pop up out of nowhere. He's created and immediately just like, zzz, okay, I'm bad. Like, you never really get like, why does he think this is the best? It's just, this is what he thinks. Justify it? We can't. We just need him to be bad. But the thing about Ultron I like, he looks threatening. He really does. And like, he looks awesome. James Spader does a great performance, and he's a very entertaining character. Like, he's funny. A lot of his line deliveries and stuff, he's a funny dude, but the problem is he's never threatening in, like, I actually believe he could kick Iron Man's ass or could kill any of the Avengers or do anything really harmful. He has a big bad plan, but at the end of the day, he's not threatening like, oh, this is a bad guy, they really need to stop him. It's just like, he's sort of a funny buffoon that's, you can laugh at him, but you're never threatened that he'll actually hurt anyone. He's a funny guy, but he's not threatening. And Marvel, they really, Thanos, I'm telling you, if Thanos sucks, they're building Thanos up so much. And if Thanos is another one of these, he looks threatening, but actually he's not that threatening, and he's just sort of, you laugh at him maybe once or twice and he sucks. If Thanos sucks, Marvel's done for, because they really not good with their villains. And also, as funny as the movie was, there's a time or two where the humor was so misplaced. Like, the movie actually has a couple really dramatic scenes, and they throw a joke in. Like, there's a really dramatic, intense, like, oh my god moment in the movie, and it's not even finished. It is happening still, and they throw in what was actually a very funny joke, but it's like, no! In the middle of this moment, you're gonna put in a joke? That just throws the tone off. Sometimes the tone is a little bit like, it's funny and serious at the same time, and it's not working. Joss Whedon, I expect better from you. Not to sell him short, I mean, he's got a huge task and he's really delivering mostly on it. He's doing such a good job, but there's little moments where it's like, God, you really screwed up here. So yeah, those are sort of the negatives. Not a great villain, and the tone's a little bit mismatched. The movie's a little rushed at times, and apparently this movie was like 3 hours. There's gonna be the Blu-ray with an extended cut. It's like, okay, I can't, you know what, it's actually hard to cut movies a break for that. Like, oh, but it was gonna be 3 hours and it would have been like fully serviced. Ultron would have made more sense than this and that. It's like, no, you're never gonna release a 3-hour Avengers movie, so you should have thought of that when you were writing it. And don't write like a 3-hour movie and expect it to go out. You knew stuff was gonna get cut out. You could have cut out some of the stuff in this and put in more stuff to make Ultron menacing, or at least motivate him more. And now for all the good stuff. The characters, as usual, our heroes are just fantastic. They're all perfectly acted. They're all very entertaining, pretty funny, and also they're more interesting now. We got some great stuff with the Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye. For real, it seems like Joss Whedon went like, of every character, Hawkeye really needs to stand out and be a lot more interesting than he was last time, and they accomplished that for sure. Tony and Cap and the rest of them, pretty good. There's also a new character, the Vision, or just Vision, I forget if there's a "the" in front of it, but he was really awesome. Paul Bettany as the Vision, fantastic. I can't talk too much about it, maybe in the spoiler review, but the Vision was great. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, I thought they were both pretty good. They're more dramatic, they're not really very funny characters, they got their moments, but to talk about them also, I gotta sort of go into the spoiler review to talk about them, but I thought they were pretty good. And I guess the last problem too is there's a scene or two that the tone is off, and there's also a couple scenes that really felt like, this really just seems like it's just setting up, yeah, Thor is gonna go off and do this, and does it mean anything at all, this movie? Not really, no. I mean, it sort of does, no, it's really not that important. This movie also very much, it balances out the heroes really well, so they each have a couple great moments to shine and be awesome and interesting, and I love that the heroes have stuff to do. Hawkeye finally is interesting and has stuff to do. No one's given the shaft and like, you're the person we don't pay much attention to. Just hide in the corner. We're ignoring you. Like, everyone gets something to do. I love that. And the action in this movie, in my opinion, outdoes the first one. The first one, we got some good action. We got that battle in New York at the end where it's just constant destruction and beating the shit out of Chitauri. And that was like the standout, that big end sequence. This one, like almost every action sequence, was really, really fantastic and great and just a spectacle to watch. I love it a lot. So the action, in my opinion, was much improved over the first because like almost every action sequence stands out. But overall, Avengers Age of Ultron, they did so much right. It's such a spectacle, fun movie to see all our favorite Marvel heroes just breaking shit, smashing robots. It's a lot of fun. They executed a couple things poorly. It's got some problems. But in my opinion, it pretty much stands up there with the first Avengers movie, which the first one had a couple problems. This one has a couple more problems, so it's maybe not quite as good, although I'd probably watch this one over the first one. Avengers Age of Ultron, it's a disappointment in a couple areas, but overall, it really lives up to the expectations. Mostly the trailer, though, they really let you down with the villain in that. So it's not perfect by any means, but they did so much about it right. I would give Avengers Age of Ultron an A-. It was a really fun time. And yeah, I look forward to seeing Civil War. Is that actually, no, there's Ant-Man and then I think it's Civil War. That's exciting. So yeah, comment below, tell me what you thought of Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm gonna go eat my sandwich and then I guess I'll come back and do the spoiler review. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys later.